So, I don't know if I've discussed this before, but I basically have two mechanisms for coping with, you know, the unpleasantries of reality, and those unpleasantries crop up very, very often. I mean, you know, uh, and they basically come down to paralysis and procrastination, which sounds similar. They have essentially the same effect. Nothing gets done about the problem. And I think to some extent everybody kind of suffers from these to a little bit. I know that, for example, my mother really did, and I'm worse than she is, or was, and she got worse as she got older. But it basically, for the paralysis side, that's when something is so horrible, and things like, when I had the power outage, definitely fit into this, where I just kind of curl up into a ball and do nothing. Because I can't figure out anything that I can do, really. Obviously there were things I could do that would solve, partial problems or whatever in the situation, but not much. I could do things like, go someplace where there's heat and light and maybe haul a laptop with me so that I could access the interwebs and shit like that. Similarly, I have that's almost always my gut reaction to something I can't deal with, and I just don't know what the fuck to do about it. And it's really, really, horrible, because I'm usually looking at a bad situation and all I can do is kind of cower from it, without any kind of functionality at all. And it just ends up in, wasted time, slipping into depressions or whatever, where I'm just sleeping, accepting my fate. It's a very stoic type of response, but it's also not a very effective one in the face of things where there actually are things that I could do. And there's almost always something that one can do, right? I guess. The other side, the procrastination, actually comes in different flavors. The main one I'm looking at was I don't want to do X, so I'll do Y, which is kind of intriguing because it's like kind of what's affecting me today, right? Like, somewhere deep inside me, I don't want to be cutting wood, even for just a half hour or whatever, because my body hurts afterwards, whatever happens. And so I sort of engineer my life in such a way that I can't do what I really should be doing. Now, this causes other problems, but so for example, I stayed up probably too late the last couple of days, and I ended up, sleeping to the point where I had to get up and play Raid today. The day before, I actually did some cutting, even though I got up much later than I would like to for such situations. Both of these have a problem in that I don't really end up doing what I want to do. Like, I don't do what I have to do, and I don't do what I want to do. Now, I don't know what I want to do anymore, right? Like, right now, nothing is really all that appealing. But I I found a variant to all that when I was in college, which was sort of a fuck it all approach to the procrastination. Instead of choosing, for example, because of what I did today, playing Raid or whatever, which I see as some sort of duty that probably trumps everything else in my life right now. The same way that work did. Work could serve as that kind of thing. Now, it's a lot harder to justify playing Raid, but somehow it feels like a duty, I'm able to avoid doing the thing that I really judge as the most important thing. Now, another thing that I might end up doing is I might end up doing other useful tasks as a form of procrastination, which is a lot better. Now, some of that may be coming up and playing my games or whatever, but some of it is also, something like, well, if I can't do that, if I don't want to. This is usually when I'm faced with the actual reality of being able to do something. I choose to do something else that I am less unhappy about at that moment. Like I'll do dishes instead of cutting wood, or instead of coming up here and playing a game or whatever. I'll just do something. But it's weird because some of the times I put this whole, I can't do these other things that maybe I should do and that I would value, in terms of getting me forward in reality. For example, going out for a walk or something like that. I cannot do that because I need to spend my time doing tasks of primary importance. It's all very weird. It's like, obviously a rational person would not make the choices that I make. Right? A rational person would say, let's get the misery out of the way, or let's say, fuck it. Now, again, in my college days, from my first undergrad, I was able to learn the magic of fuck it all. Just, I would enjoy gaming with my friends or going out and hanging out or whatever. But I also still had large periods of time where I was in sort of a paralysis mode or procrastinating with something else or whatever. The fuck it all was great because it got me out of the misery that's consequent to my existence, basically. Because I'm always trying to avoid, right? I'm always trying to delay or, well, not even delay. I'm just like, I always find some excuse or whatever to avoid doing something. Avoid seems better than delay. And it's not always laziness. Sometimes I will do something that's actually more miserable from my point of view than the thing that I think I really should be doing. And I won't find, no matter what I choose, I won't find satisfaction in it because I know I didn't do what I should be doing, right? Whatever that is. And that's the choices I'm always left with is be miserable doing what you should be doing where you might find satisfaction, or be more miserable doing other things, and I choose that more miserable aspect every time, whether it's to curl up in a ball or to actually do some other task and then berate myself for doing the wrong thing or whatever. And part of my misery comes from always being down on myself. Now, I know the power of positive thinking and all that, and somehow that feels so alien and so wrong and almost immoral to me. Along the lines of the fuck it all, right? To choose to say, look, you're not so bad, look, you did these things, or this is, you're good at this, or whatever. It just, it doesn't work, and it feels fake to me, and it feels almost like there's almost always this answer and callback of, no, you're a fucking piece of shit, you know, because you can't do what you really should be doing, whatever that is. And that's a different thread, that negativity and the morality of all that, in a way that's kind of strange. Now, every now and then, I'll hit a breaking point and do what needs to be done, whatever that is, you know. So, for example, it's usually at the, this is a calamitous situation and must be dealt with, and I'm told that's AHDH or whatever. That like consequences kind of don't matter. What matters is the immediacy of the need for doing the task. But it's like either immediate or it's nothing. You know, it's kind of a binary choice between the two. And it's not like they don't prey on me. They do. These things that I know I should be doing, must be doing. But I just keep putting them off. Now, at some points in my life, I don't know, I was able to find a way around that. I think always when I put it in terms of I owe X to Y, I owe this to someone or to something. So for work, it was relatively easy, because I felt like I had made, you know, a pledge of some sort to do this, to that. Now, you know, this would be useful to the godly, right? You know, you pledge something to God and therefore you do it. And great, you know. My imaginary friends don't work that way, unfortunately. But, except maybe the dance. Somehow I've sort of pledged to the fairies that to dance for them. But yeah, there's a. But it's not always like that. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think, because when I took the job in Phoenix, I got to a point where, okay, I just have to do everything now. And I just did it all, right? Like a normal person does what they're supposed to do, what they need to do, right? Like I see normal people doing shit all the time. And that was, I guess, an immediacy thing there too, of rather than just a duty side of stuff, of like, yeah, if you don't do this, you're without the work, and you need to have a job and get money at this point, and stuff like that. And I wasn't finding anything here in my my half-hearted attempts found me a job in Phoenix and one in Milwaukee that I could choose between, basically. But yeah, it's just a weird sort of balance there. Anyway, I thought I'd say some words about this because it's on my mind right now. My battery's almost out, and I don't want to have to join pieces of a video together, so I guess I'm out on this one.